I can't get the sheet on him.
Let's cover his face.
A young hawk falls into a family pool.
I think, yep, straight ahead in front of that brush. There's something there.
A group of orphaned raccoons may not be tough enough for life in the wild.
In all honesty, I should be bleeding. They should be going at me really aggressively.
And a new rehabilitation staff member gets on the wrong side of a skunk.
Oh, and he sprayed.
It's known as the city within a park. The Greater Toronto Area is home to one of the most diverse urban wildlife populations in North America. Here, more than 6 million busy humans live alongside 350 different species of wild animals. When wildlife clashes with urban life, it's usually the animals who lose. That's when Toronto Wildlife Centre steps in, saving animals one day at a time. No city animal is as controversial as the raccoon. To some, he's cute, smart, and mysterious, while to others, he's bold, destructive, and annoying. In North America, there are 20 times more urban raccoons than 70 years ago, and Toronto is none other than the raccoon capital of Canada.
The problem really isn't that you have a raccoon in your attic. The problem is that you have a hole in your attic and something can get in there. Raccoons are very easy to exclude. You can get them to leave, but if the easy thing to do is just to trap them and kill them.
And that's exactly what happened to these baby raccoons' mother. Local homeowners called exterminators to get rid of what they perceived to be a pesky raccoon problem in their home. A mother raccoon had turned their attic into a den for her babies. With the mother gone, the residents could still hear noises in their attic. These baby raccoons were left behind with no one to care for them. It's a common problem when residents call on exterminators to get rid of adult raccoons.
Sure enough, within a day or two, they'll start to hear the babies crying. Then they'll go up there and see the babies. The babies are very cute, and so all of a sudden they want to save them, but they've already orphaned them.
In the case of these young raccoons, the homeowners felt so sorry for the little orphans, they started caring for them in their home. An act that is actually illegal in most North American cities. Eventually, it became clear that even young raccoons are too much work, and they called Toronto Wildlife Centre.
If you have a situation where the animal is already in the house, then the best thing to do is to take that nice quiet spot and make it an undesirable place to live. So the reason that they go up there is it's dark, it's quiet, it's safe, nobody bothers them. It's a great place to have your babies. They're really only in the house at the time of year where they have young. And so the best way to get them out is to make it not quiet, not dark, not undisturbed. So very simple things like, going up there and playing loud music, illuminating the area with a big flood lamp. Those are things that will help get them out. They all have multiple nest sites. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. So if it turns out to be a place where they don't get that peace and quiet that they're looking for, they'll go and find another place on their own. And then it's on the homeowner to make sure that they seal up that structure.
Now that the raccoons are here, it's on the staff to make sure they're not diseased. Lisa and Jesse are going to vaccinate this group. Unlike rabbits and squirrels, it takes two to wrangle even young raccoons.
So Jess is here and she's actually going to be containing the raccoons. So do you want me to hold them up for you to?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to give them their oral.
Okay.
There's 2 males, one's got his bum clipped, the other doesn't.
Okay.
There's 2 females, one's got her bum clipped, the other
So you know who's who? As far as their amounts?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My gloves are bigger than this crate. This is a little girl. That was his dewormer. This is his vaccine. There we go. Okay.
Yep, that's a bum clip. Is it?
I don't know.
It means that we've just cut a little bit of fur over their bums so that we can differentiate them from each other.
These guys look good. These guys are ready to go, Jess. So they can go outside now.
Because these guys are perfectly healthy young raccoons, the rehabilitation team is eager to fast-track them for release. The only challenge they face is that they're too comfortable with people, having been coddled by humans when they were just babies. And the center's outdoor enclosures will be the perfect place to start behaving like raccoons again.
So this will be their last time here, and then they'll go outside to their outdoor cages, much bigger, all natural foods. It's full of trees and hammocks and things to climb and things to do. And then from there, they'll be released, usually in about 6 to 8 weeks. First thing they do is take the grapes out of the water. Oh, they do like beans.
While the rehabilitation team is preparing the outdoor enclosure for these raccoons, the rescue team has just arrived at the home of a local resident.
I have a home office, so I was working today, and I heard this huge crash, looked everywhere, and then I stepped out by my swimming pool, and there was this large hawk. He hit one of our larger windows, and he was obviously stunned. I wasn't sure if he was hurt, so I watched for a while. The hawk did try to get away. He tried to fly away. He made it, I think, halfway across my swimming pool, so used my pool skimmer, and he seemed to appreciate that, and sort of scooped them out of the pool. And then he decided to go where it's quiet and sort of hid into the bushes for a while until Toronto Wildlife Service, our center, got here. And hopefully he'll be okay.
The hawk is in the backyard, but Andrew White and Sarah Castillo are going over the details of the call before they begin this rescue.
Yeah, so I saw the picture. Don't know if it's a juvenile or an adult. The finder heard it strike the window this morning.
How long ago?
A couple hours, he said. It was also fallen in the pool. He was able to get it out, but obviously we need to get in there and help.
So he just like skimmered and
I would assume he skimmered him out.
Let's get to this then.
Yeah.
So is it true that the bird fell into the pool?
He tried to fly and made like 2 feet, went into the pool. Where the water is at the edge of the pool,
Yep.
lifted him out,
Yep.
crawled right in before that little sort of statue.
Oh, okay.
Angel, he's
Tucked in there somewhere?
underneath there.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know.
All right, beautiful.
I go this way, you go that way?
Yep. I feel like he's probably gone deeper.
You think the back?
Yeah, but let's just clear this area. Hey, there he is. I think, yep, straight ahead in front of that brush. There's something there. I'm gonna come around.
I don't see what you see at all.
Okay, let me come around.
Sorry.
Now, finding the bird is proving to be more challenging than they expected. The longer it takes to get him out of the bush and into the assessment room at the center, the less chance this hawk has of survival. People love windows because you can stay inside and still enjoy the view. Birds have a different relationship with panes of glass. Today, the team is trying to rescue a Cooper's hawk that flew into this residential window before falling into the family pool. At this point, the team is unsure how badly this bird is injured. The longer it takes to get him out of the bush and into the center for treatment, the less chance this hawk has of survival.
I don't see him.
He's right here. Okay, just hold on. I'm gonna go in. Just shh. Okay, he's covered. I'll let you come in and grab him. I'll get the sheet. He really wants your glove. Let's cover his face and then I'll work on the talons. So the talons, they didn't go into your finger, right?
No.
That's why you have your gloves on?
Yeah.
But he really's holding on.
Yeah. He looked pretty sad when I first got in there, but once I picked him up, that was it.
Yeah. Came around a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. You want to just sneak back to the cage?
Throw him in there.
Now, this Cooper's hawk will be brought to Toronto Wildlife Centre for a full medical exam and treatment. But Andrew is already thinking about his release.
If all goes well, can we come back and let him go?
Yeah, he's been
And homeowner Ted Velasquez is relieved he made the decision to call Toronto Wildlife Centre's rescue team.
I'm amazed how fast they are, amazed how okay they are going to get the bird. I wasn't going to touch it. They have big claws and big beaks, but yeah, they were in here fast and it didn't seem to be upset, and it's off and gone. Hopefully it'll be fixed up, and they say they're going to bring it back and release it where it was, where it lives, which is, I think, a good thing as opposed to releasing it somewhere else it doesn't know. So.
Back at the center, these recently orphaned raccoons have been moved into an outdoor enclosure. Today, Lisa and the center's newest rehabilitation staff manager, Arian, are getting ready to give these raccoons their second set of vaccinations.
These are some of the last steps that we go through between the time that they're, young and being fed and the time that they're on their own in the wild. And we do this 3 times, basically, before they're released. Whenever we're working around these animals, especially raccoons, they're extremely smart. So it's very difficult to raise them and be the people that are providing their food and then teach them later that we're their primary predator. So we definitely want them to have a respectful fear of humans. So we don't just go in their cage and start talking or hanging out. If we go in there, we're grabbing them, we're wrangling them, usually fairly aggressively. We don't want it to be a positive situation for them. The next time we approach their cage, we want them to run. Wait, he's actually got me. Basically, as soon as we open up the door and go in the cage, we don't, oh, sweet little raccoon, we don't baby talk them. We do what we need to do and we get out of the cage. The wilder they are, the more aggressive, the feistier, the harder they bite us, the better it is. That's what we want. We want an aggressive wild raccoon.
While raccoons would never attack without a real threat, the rehabilitation team wants to make sure they are able to defend themselves.
So the more aggressive they are and the more fearful they are of people, the better their chances of survival in the wild. What are we putting him in when we're done?
We're putting them in this carrier over there.
Okay, I got him.
Okay, I'm just gonna come behind them.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Basically, the one message that we want for the animals to leave with is that people are bad. We're never going to be a good thing. We don't want them approaching us for food or any other reason. And for these guys, they're curious. They're coming to see us because we do bring food. So if they do approach us, then we'll make loud noises, we'll bang on the side of the cages, we'll use noisemakers, we'll do anything to kind of deter them. And generally, if they approach us and we make a loud, scary noise, then the next time they're a lot more tentative. Basically, if we see raccoons in a cage and we approach the cage, we want them all to run and hide. That would be the natural behavior that we're going for.
As aggressive as these raccoons may seem, Lisa is still not convinced that they're ready for release.
I would say they're not quite there yet, so we'll give them a little bit more time. In all honesty, I should be bleeding. They should be going at me really aggressively. It should be very, very, very hard for me to grab them.
At 4 months, mothers are kicking most juvenile raccoons out of their dens. They've come a long way since they were first brought to the center at 2 months old, and Lisa is eager to get these guys on with their lives.
The next stage is that as soon as they get just a little bit more aggressive, then they're ready to go. They're of an age where they're on their own in the wild, but with their behavior, we want them to just run and hide every time we approach.
While Lisa works hard to keep her emotional distance from the raccoons who come through the center, she's still passionate about the city's wildlife. And after all that heavy-handedness, she leaves behind a little treat: delicious fish. But it's strictly self-serve.
Well, now that we've conquered the raccoon vaccines, I'm going to attempt the skunk vaccines. It's challenging vaccinating full-grown skunks, but we have, I believe, 7 groups out here. We're going to be doing 2 of them today, and we've got a couple groups ready to go. So this will be their last time that we're handling them. The trick with skunks is to move slow. You're not ever going to sneak up on them, so I think people try and they learn that that's a bad idea. When they're young, you can handle them a lot easier, but these guys have been away from people for weeks and weeks now. They don't want to be approached. They don't want us in their cage. Our chances of getting sprayed are about as high as they get. But usually what we'll do is if we get a chance to get a hold of them before getting sprayed, we can fold their tail underneath them, then they physically cannot spray. So the challenge is getting them and then letting them go. It usually backfires on us when it comes down to catching skunks, but it is what it is. We don't make dinner plans on the night we're doing skunk vaccines. Just the way it goes.
This is the first time Arian has tried to wrangle and vaccinate skunks.
I'm hoping to get some more training. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of skunk experience, so this is why Lisa is here to help me out and show me the proper techniques in order to pick up skunks so we hopefully don't get sprayed. So I'm really excited to finally learn how to handle them, and give them their vaccinations and their deworming. See, look how big they are now.
They're beautiful. Okay, you got your opportunity.
Okay. So kind of like this.
Okay, so you need to grab. The timing is what?
I'm so slow too.
Oh, and he sprayed.
I'm too slow.
There you go. Smells good.
I'm not breathing right.
Like it's okay.
Round 1 goes to the skunks in a decisive victory.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
No, it's just another aroma.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Trust me.
That was good though. You did good. Don't die.
I feel so sick right now.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
Are you all right or no?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay. Which end do you got?
This is the skunk's head. But this is different than the normal smell that we usually smell.
Yep. You're right. They got some jaw locking going on here.
They have a lot of teeth though. Okay.
Other end, please. With the tail down. Yeah, perfect.
This bra's garbage.
Probably.
Okay. Now to let him go.
Set him on the ground. Pull it off. Don't get creative. Okay, just pull it off. He'll walk away from you. There you go. You okay?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so what went wrong last time was the chase.
Okay.
What I do is I'll kind of walk up to him slow to get him in an area where I can grab him, then come in with the sheet. Okay.
Finally, Lisa decides it's time to take over.
Can I switch with you?
Yes.
Do you mind?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay. So I'm gonna find his spot. So he's thinking about spraying again. Okay. He can't spray right now. Okay. God, he's beautiful. Okay.
My scrubs are toast. I'm gonna get out now. Right now I smell very badly, but you know what? It was a very good, positive training experience, and I know what I need to work on in the future, and hopefully, as Lisa said, we'll gain more experience, and hopefully I'll be an expert.
I think she did great. It's a lot more nerve-wracking than it looks, I think, when you're about to jump on an animal, either be it to manually restrain them, or when you know for a fact you're going to get sprayed, there's something in the back of your mind that's like, ugh. But, you know, they're really an easy animal to rehabilitate comparatively because they're very independent at a young age. These guys are doing great. They look amazing. It's great for me because I saw them as babies, and then we go completely hands off. So the only chance we really have to get our hands on them and really feel what their body condition is and how much fat they have and how much muscle they have is when we're going to handle them for vaccines. So, you know, I really like seeing them all grown up because it shows us what a good job that we did raising them. They look amazing.
Now, with their last set of vaccinations complete, these guys will soon be released, and Arian will have plenty of opportunities to get the hang of it. She has 4 more groups of skunks to vaccinate before she can go home and take a shower.
I can't get the sheet on him.
Sarah has just brought this Cooper's hawk into the assessment room to be seen by Katie from the rehabilitation team. Sarah is eager to find out how this bird is doing.
Okay, so why don't we just start, we'll just have a look at him and then we'll see what we need to do from here. Let's start at his face. So his breathing is wet.
You can hear it. Being the pool probably didn't help.
I'm sure. I'm just looking for blood. No blood.
He's feisty. The finder said he hit pretty hard, like he heard it upstairs.
Yeah, these guys fly fast.
Yeah.
So. He's pretty stressed, so I'd want to do this quick.
Yeah.
Body condition's good.
Okay.
So that's good. Okay. He's still wet from the pool. I can feel him. He looks good though.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to listen to see if the fluid is up here or
Okay.
down further in his chest. So when I listen to his lungs, you can hear fluid actually all the way down in his chest.
Right.
So I think when he was in the pool, he probably in his panic state inhaled some water. So he's getting very, very stressed. So we're just gonna have to make this quick. And then we'll put him on, we'll put him in some oxygen and we'll give him some antibiotics just so he doesn't get an infection.
Perfect.
The worst thing that can happen from having water down in your lungs or air sacs for these guys is an infection. Really, they can get pneumonia just like people. Can I have this leg, please?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Because we know that this guy, you know, his accident only happened this morning. Hopefully we've caught it in time, so he should be just fine. His feet look good.
He looks pretty good for a juvenile.
Yeah, he does. So we're just gonna get some anti-inflammatories into him because we know that his trauma is acute. It just happened this morning. And then because his breathing is not good at all, he's very, very stressed from this, which is normal. We're gonna put him back in his cage and put him in some oxygen for a couple of hours, and then we'll get him out later on and finish up his exam and all his treatments. So this is just an intramuscular injection, so I just need his keel, please.
That was quick.
Yep. Fast and painless. So yeah, so if you just want to pop him back in.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna carry him over right now.
For now, this Cooper's hawk will stay at the center until he's stronger. Life in the wild is a challenge even for a perfectly healthy animal. The slightest health problem creates a serious disadvantage. So when the day comes that the animal is ready to be released, the experts at Toronto Wildlife Centre have to be sure. Today, Sarah, part of the rescue and release team at Toronto Wildlife Centre, has arrived at the edge of one of Toronto's many ravines. After 8 weeks at the center, these 3 6-month-old raccoons will be released into the open wild for the first time in their lives. The release team at Toronto Wildlife Centre likes to release animals like raccoons in slightly less populated areas like ravines. They're still close to their initial rescue site, but by releasing them here, the raccoons have a better chance of keeping away from their #1 predator, humans. Sarah has arrived in daylight to scout the location, but she won't release the raccoons in anything less than full darkness.
For raccoons, they are nocturnal. They are most active at night. It's their safety. And so that's when they're most active. That's when they're finding their food. That is when their activity is highest. And that's when we want to get them out because this is their first time in the wild. They need to do all that exploring and like figure everything out. And they have that blanket of darkness to do what they want.
Sarah is checking in one last time before she opens the crate. She's eager for them to run deeper into the bush and not in the other direction towards the road.
It just makes me nervous that we are pretty close to the road. It's a dead-end street. It's a quiet road. I shouldn't be worried about it. But that's just that inner, almost like mothering feeling you feel that these, you know, you've raised these guys. Maybe not me personally, but as the center has raised them, we obviously want what's best for them. And so I would like them to go deeper into the forest. They're ready. They're right at the door.
It's up to the raccoons to come out on their own. Sarah is willing to wait for a little while at least. 2 decide to take the first brave steps out. For the first time since they were babies, they're free. But one little guy is still not so sure.
Okay, you come on. Usually it takes the first guy coming out and then they like follow each other. But usually it's the first one to come out. It's the least scared, the one who's a little more curious about life. The last one's usually the one who's a little scared about things, which is why I had to tip him out. As much as I'd like to give him all the time in the world to come out, we don't have all the time, and I would rather that they stay somewhat together.
Like with all releases, predictability is not part of the game.
So I think he's really close. I can hear him, and I want to push him back in. I see where he is. Yeah, so he's going back in, which is perfect. That's what I want. It was a great release. Yeah, I'm really happy. That one guy was obviously a little more reluctant to come out. We don't know if they stay together as a family, if you will. They may not, they may rehook up, but it's nice to see them all kind of follow each other out.
This guy's a very polite eater.
A baby mink is abandoned on a pet store shelf.
He's very well behaved.
A young coyote has a nasty case of mange.
I have had mange twice, and it is awful. It drives you absolutely crazy. So I really feel for these guys.
And how do you feed a snake with an injured jaw?
I don't want to tube him or force feed him, though. I don't want to mess with his jaw.
It's known as the city within a park. The Greater Toronto Area is home to one of the most diverse urban wildlife populations in North America. Here, more than 6 million busy humans live alongside 350 different species of wild animals. When wildlife clashes with urban life, it's usually the animals who lose. That's when Toronto Wildlife Centre steps in, saving animals one day at a time. In the big city, you're more likely to see a mink on someone's back than roaming through the downtown streets. But the Greater Toronto Area is actually home to a healthy population of these semi-aquatic weasels. In fact, there may be 8 or more minks per every square kilometer.
Oh, there's a mink.
Unfortunately, that doesn't make them any easier to spot. They're experts at hiding out in the city's many rivers and marshes, which is why a Bowmanville pet store owner was shocked to find an unfamiliar baby animal crying out on the empty pet store shelf. She quickly rushed it into Toronto Wildlife Centre.
So just a couple of days ago, we had a tiny little animal brought in. We're pretty sure it's a mink from what we can tell. It's really, really hard to identify species sometimes when they're so incredibly young.
Natalie Carvonen is the center's founder and executive director.
This poor little thing was found by someone and just left behind in a pet store on a shelf.
At this stage, a baby mink needs a lot of care and almost hourly feedings. Toronto Wildlife Centre is a charity-funded organization, and overnight volunteers are hard to come by. So Natalie will have to work overtime to keep this little guy's needs met.
I'm going to be fostering him this coming weekend. It's good that it's coming over the weekend because at this age, he needs to be fed about every couple of hours, really pretty much throughout the entire day. And when they're so little and vulnerable, the more frequent tiny little feedings we can give them, the easier it is on their system as they get used to this very strange artificial formula.
The mink took to the formula and is growing nicely. Now at 5 weeks old, this baby mink is able to survive on fewer feedings a day. But he isn't ready to hunt for himself. So Lisa Fosco, the rehabilitation manager at Toronto Wildlife Centre, still has to play mom.
Here we have a baby mink. And we have had him since he was a few days old. You can smell his musk. And he is one of our favorites, just because we've raised him from a little guy, and he's been doing really, really well. This guy's a very polite eater.
He may be polite now, but this could be a big problem.
He's very well behaved.
Good manners don't go very far in nature. Lisa wants him to be much more aggressive. It's a critical part of his success in the wild, and it's not going to happen with too much human coddling. So this mink will be getting a little space.
And so these guys tend to stay in an area that nobody comes in here unless we're going to be feeding them. We never want them to see us any more than they have to. With any wild animal, it's going to be important to keep them in a nice quiet room just so that we don't stress them out.
Minimal handling is the key. It's a technique employed at the center to make sure animals don't bond with humans.
They need to go out there and understand that humans are their primary predator.
Until he gets this message, he'll be staying at the center.
Oh, this guy will be in captivity for another probably 8 weeks. Right now we're trying to talk to other rehabilitators to see if anybody else has a single mink his size, because we'd like to give him a friend at this age so that they can grow up together. They grow up by themselves, they don't have the same social development. And while we can't really tell the differences, we assume that in the wild the other minks can. We want them to be able to interact normally with the others of their kind.
The center hasn't been able to find a match for him yet, so it's up to Lisa and her team to turn this baby into a full-fledged wild mink.
Okay. All right. I'll see you in 3 hours, mink.
Meanwhile, Andrew White, head of the rescue and release team at Toronto Wildlife Centre, has just returned from an urgent call at a local school.
Well, we've just come back from a rescue of a young coyote pup who actually had been suspectedly chased through a schoolyard by a dog, and the school doors just happened to be open, and the little pup ran into there. It has mange, which is a horrible skin parasite that really agitates them, and he's scratched himself so hard that it's rubbed him raw in places. Our biggest concern is now that we have this guy is there's probably a couple more out there.
While Andrew sets out to find the remaining sick coyote pups, Katie and Aaron are in the assessment room.
You said he didn't eat anything overnight, right?
Right, completely untouched.
Okay. I think I just want to give him some canned food this morning with no meds in it.
Sure.
And see if he eats it. And then, because he only gets his meloxicam at night.
Okay.
So if he doesn't eat anything by tonight, we can hand feed him a bit tonight with his meds. Yeah. So he just needs fluids and his antibiotics this morning.
Okay.
And then I would like to run him if we can and just check for a limp.
Sure. We can set up that kennel cab.
Yeah, because yesterday on intake he did the typical coyote thing where he went from lying on his side to cowering in the back, and I didn't actually see him walk at all. But he reportedly had a limp according to the finder. So if we can get him to walk, that'd be nice.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, this is the sore Andrew was talking about, but you can see he has them sort of all over. Yeah. It's a girl, I should say her legs. She has a big one up there and on this side too.
Mange is a parasitic skin disease caused by mites. It's itchy and uncomfortable, and it makes the infected animals scratch patches of their skin raw. Those bare and scratched patches of skin are vulnerable to infection, so antibiotics are the first order of business.
Yeah. Yep, she's getting oral antibiotics.
If left untreated, the infection would have eventually attacked the coyote's immune system, making it too weak to care for itself.
Not very inflamed, at least.
No, not very inflamed. Well, she's also already had one dose of anti-inflammatories and antibiotics, so I'm sure that helps. She doesn't have that.
Aaron and Katie can tell the mange is still in its early stages. That's good news for this coyote pup.
She looks good. It's pretty typical mange, I would say. She has the skin sores and the thin fur and whatnot, but her eyes look great.
Okay.
Nice and clear, good color, very bitey.
I appreciate that. And we'll just see if she has that limp.
Yeah. I don't see any
Just going
limp.
to avoid the cab entirely. Okay.
Yeah.
You want a glove?
Can I? Oh, never mind. She's in. Perfect.
With the assessment complete, the treatments for mange will begin, and Katie is feeling positive about her prognosis.
Her mange is not that bad. She doesn't look very great, I know, but she's not even close to the worst that we see. And mange is so easily treatable. I have had mange twice, and it is awful. It drives you absolutely crazy. So I really feel for these guys.
After the initial treatment, the mites begin to die off, and the itchiness subsides almost immediately. But the staff at the center are still concerned. There's a chance that this young coyote may be carrying a deadly virus. Lisa has been unable to find a pal for this lone mink since he was dropped off at the center 4 weeks ago.
He's been doing well, he's growing well, he looks good. He's up for his weight check, so we're gonna look at his weight and look at his behavior. He's been alone too long.
Without a companion, he might miss learning some important social cues, like how to be an aggressive animal. A mild-mannered mink will not do well in the wild.
In all honesty, last week I was starting to get very concerned because I was able to reach my hand in there, and that should never happen.
So what happens if the mink doesn't start putting up a stink?
If we have an animal that can't be released into the wild, there's two options. One of them is to place him in a permanent captive situation somewhere, and the other one is euthanasia. And as much as that's not something we would want to do, to be really honest with you, finding a home for a wild animal is very rare.
It's those terrible options that motivate Lisa to turn this mild animal into a wild animal.
I'm just a little bit concerned about him because we've had him so long by himself. So what I want to do is let's see how bitey he is, how hard he is to grab, how aggressive he is. If he's not, then we have to look at adjusting our plan.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll try to kill me, and then we won't have anything to worry about. That would be amazing.
The more aggression this mink shows toward Lisa, the better his chances are to be successfully released into the wild. Anything less will mean prolonged captivity at best, and possibly something much, much worse.
He's trying to kill me for real, so he's better than I thought. All right, buddy. I'm sorry. So I'm actually very impressed. He's wilding up nicely. All right, buddy. I'm sorry. I am so much happier than I was last week. Okay, good. So he is now at his next category of development. He bit me for real. He must. That's exactly what we want to see. That's great. Okay.
Despite this positive checkup, the mink is not out of the woods yet.
Next, he goes outside into his big boy cage. He'll be out there for maybe 2 to 3 weeks, then be released. Body condition?
Meanwhile, the rescue team has captured a second coyote pup, also suffering from a serious case of mange. The 2 pups appear close enough in age that the center would like to keep them together while they heal. Lisa and head veterinarian Heather Reed are getting ready to examine these new coyote pups for signs of any further illness.
So it's crated.
After a recent scare with a very sick fox, Heather wants to make sure these animals are cleared for the virus.
Young coyote. A while back we had a young fox, kind of a similar age as our coyotes, that came in and turned out to have a pretty bad infectious disease. It had parvovirus, which causes a really bad diarrhea and very sick animal. So of course that's always at the back of our mind when we get these sick orphans in.
Canine parvovirus can be a deadly and infectious disease when it attacks young pups. If either of these coyotes has this virus, chances are they'll need to be euthanized, and the center's animal population will be at risk.
Yeah, I've just peeked at her quickly, haven't done a full assessment.
Okay,
So
so the main concern was that she came in orphaned,
young plus mange.
and we think she's eating on her own?
Yeah, they said that she ate everything but the dry food, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm thinking that we look at her, that we look at the other one. Geographically, they can go together.
Ah, that would be great.
Yeah, so I think that if we can clear them medically to go together, I think that the best medicine is a friend at this age.
Okay, no, there's no wounds or anything?
Not that I could feel or see. Her little, these spots are even good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
It's walking nicely. Okay, great. So, we got a fecal sample on her.
Yep.
So maybe if we look at the other one and get another fecal.
Yep, you can check them out.
The first pup gets the all clear. Now it's on to the next.
All right. It's okay. Can you see a dentition?
Dentition has to do with the way teeth are arranged in the mouth. It helps determine an animal's age.
Lower, she looks like she's got the same dentition, canines and incisors. If I can just, can't see her upper incisors yet. So she's.
It's okay. It's okay.
Over her back is where the wound was, and the fur is missing. Looks a lot better today here.
Okay.
Great. So I think that they are. I mean, as long as we figure out about the parasites and every, I think that they can definitely go together in this room. This is a much bigger room and be great.
So run the samples. If it's not, even if they have different parasites, can we just treat them, put them together?
I think so. We'll just know what to treat them with, and then we'll get them hopefully set up today. You think we can get them in here today?
I think so. We can redo the cage. They're nocturnal, so they've got all day.
Yep.
And then before evening, we'll put them together.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll work out. It's good that we've got two the same age.
I think it's great.
It's actually pretty lucky.
It's the best news. Not only do these coyote pups not have parvo, they both get to have a new friend.
The great thing is that these guys are eating on their own. They do not have a fever, and they do seem to be overall
a lot healthier. They do have the skin parasites, but they don't seem to have the systemic infection that the other fox had. So we're always thinking about that, but in this case, I think we're pretty sure that this is not a problem for these coyotes.
They're going to be here for a while. They've got to regrow their fur. They have to get a little bit nutritionally caught up, and then they'll go to our outdoor pen and be able to grow into be wild coyotes together in a nice enclosure outside.
Things are looking up for the coyote pups, but it's a little less rosy for the next patient. Lisa is about to examine a tiny snake with a possible head injury, but the information on his chart doesn't add up.
Okay. I have a little issue with people saying he ate 2 mealworms. I just can't believe it. 2 phoenix worms, 4 mealworms, 2 waxworms, and 1 butterworm.
One of the staff members at Toronto Wildlife Center found this snake under a wood pile on her property. When she took a close look, she could see that there was blood on the side of his head. So she brought him into the center for an assessment.
When he came in, he had a little bit of a head tilt. He had some swelling, he had some blood, and he had an abrasion on the inside of his mouth.
The first step is to establish whether this guy has eaten anything since he got here.
We generally, what we do is we give them a very specific amount where we count out the individual worms or bugs or whatever we're feeding them. For this guy, we're feeding him 4 different kinds of worms. And so right now what I'm doing is just counting what's remaining based on, compared to what we gave him. So we try to just be really cautious to make sure that we're counting well. I'd like to see him eat before determining whether or not he's releasable just because of where the injury is. But at the same time, being a snake, he could choose not to eat for a month or 2. What we try to do is we keep their temperature at their optimal range and their humidity at the optimal level, and that will generally encourage them to eat, but I can't make him eat. That comes back to us of whether or not he's not eating because of his injury or because he just doesn't want to eat in captivity. So that's one of the challenges with working with these guys.
That means this little snake's health is still a big mystery. At Toronto Wildlife Center, every animal is cared for by a team of rehabilitation experts and veterinarians, as well as vet techs and a slew of support crew who feed, clean, and care for the animals. Sometimes it takes a few people to determine something simple like how much food did this snake eat for breakfast?
Okay, so I don't know. I handled him quickly yesterday just to see how his reaction time was. I'm not convinced that he's eaten anything.
Aaron was the supervisor who first admitted this tiny snake.
There's more sample here if you want it, Lisa.
Yes, I do.
Something went in at some point.
On your hand? Oh yeah.
A little bit of blood.
Well, sorry he
in that left
messed
eye.
up his paperwork, but I'm happy to have the sample.
Just a little concerned about some possible blood in that left eye. Seems to be a little bit darker.
His jawbones look perfect.
Yeah, the alignment was always fine. Just had a little spot of blood, both on the maxilla and a little spot down by the margin of the mandible.
He looks great.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay, can I palpate his skull?
Sure. Let's get a weight on him too before we put him back.
I need to deglove. I can't feel him very well. So, we generally wear gloves. I'll just wash my hands, but to feel the little bones in his skull, I just want to make sure that I'm getting good palpation. Oh, he's swollen right here. I didn't feel that with the glove.
Small spot of blood exists in inner margin of left mandible.
Yeah, I can feel it right here under his left mandible. It's minor. So my thought is that we hold him another day or 2 and then just feel it again. I couldn't even feel that through latex. It's that subtle.
Sure.
So maybe we recheck him in like 2 days because we've got a nice weather window.
Sure.
Okay.
Just want to get a weight on him before we put him back.
Yeah, get a weight and then I'll run his lab sample.
Come on, buddy. 12.3.
He's down. I don't want to tube him or force feed him though. I don't want to mess with his jaw. Okay. Okay. So, he looks great.
While some animals would probably stay away from the woodpile after an experience like this one, Aaron is not hopeful this little snake has learned his lesson.
We can keep our fingers crossed.
Time for the mink.
It's the big day for the center's one and only mink. After 8 weeks at Toronto Wildlife Center, it's finally time for him to be released. but they have to catch him first.
So he's in his igloo, but don't catch him right away because I'd like to see his behavior.
Yeah.
I really like to see their behavior before the release just to verify that they've got all the equipment they need to be wild. So I want to see, you know, some aggression and some fear to us being in its territory, and I want to see that it's good at eluding being caught, although I do want to catch it as quickly as possible. It looks beautiful. Yeah, he's right here.
Yeah.
He's huge. Wow. Beautiful. All right, let's get him. He looks great.
It's Stacy's first time with the mink, and it looks like it's going to be up to her to catch him.
He's right behind the igloo. If you go on the left of it, I'll scare him, and he might come right to you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ready?
He's right.
Go tighter. Tighter. Ready?
Yeah.
Perfect. You want to just unravel him into the cage?
From the net?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing is clear, there are no longer any doubts about this mink's level of aggression.
Can you spin it once?
Yeah.
Like, just go for it. Just do it. If we lose him, then we'll recatch him.
Okay.
The first try didn't work. At least now they're more prepared for take 2. But so is this mink.
Same plan. Okay, just cover it, cover it. This time we won't lock him in the net, we'll just smother him.
Okay.
I'll let you do the door. Overall, I think that went good. He showed that he's nice and wild, and he certainly knows how to get away from predators, being us. That's pretty impressive. Considering he started off, what, this big in our care? Yeah. Wow, that's so cool.
Now, with the mink safely in his cage, it's time to set him free. Lisa has arrived with the mink at a spot close to where it was found as a tiny baby. This majestic pond is a mere 5 minutes drive from the store where this mink was originally discovered. But unlike the store shelf, this location couldn't be more perfect.
It's okay, buddy. Yeah. Okay.
And yet, the mink is reluctant to leave the safety of his familiar towel.
It's okay, buddy.
Or maybe it's Lisa. Somehow, cradled in his towel, this otherwise aggressive mink appears much less threatening. After all, he's only ever known the shelter of Toronto Wildlife Centre. Now it's up to him to make this new habitat his home. Just as it looks like he's ready to go forward, he comes back to his towel one more time.
Toe.
And then, finally, he disappears into the thicket. But Lisa isn't ready to leave just yet. She stays for one last look.
When releasing animals, we worry about how they're going to do. You know, have we done our job properly? But when we have gotten to the point where we do feel confident that they will survive and we've done the best we can, then that's such a great feeling. You know, the animals that have had to overcome the biggest obstacles to get back into the wild are definitely the most rewarding, for sure.
Hey Love Nature fans, be sure to like and subscribe to catch all our wild animal stories. Get closer to nature right here on YouTube.